Melissa Egler.
And I'm Laura Dwyer.
We're here on the campus of Central Michigan University because we've heard that students transform and change throughout their time here at CMU. We're here to report the story.
The main changes that were found were in personal relationships, academic success, maturity, and professionalism. We found positive changes in these 4 things. We also found very little change in core values and beliefs.
We used qualitative research in the form of in-depth interviews to gain depth and discovery on this topic. We did not choose quantitative research because we believe that gives us too general information.
This is an important study because at Central Michigan University, they pride themselves in graduating leaders.
We interviewed 12 CMU students, 7 being female, 5 male, 8 four-year students, and 4 transfer students.
We asked them in one-on-one interviews conducted throughout campus to close their eyes and reflect back on their years at CMU. We then asked them to tell us in detail about their experiences.
We then analyzed the data using open and axial coding. We will now send it to Kate and Katie in the newsroom, who will break down the open coding and give us the report.
Thanks, Melissa. Our main objective with this research was to discover the transformation of CMU students over their college experience. We specifically wanted to focus on the traditional 4-year student versus those who transferred to CMU.
During our research, one of the main concepts we discovered was the unexpected correlation between transfer and non-transfer students. During our research, one of the main similarities we found was the academic struggles that students face during their first year at CMU.
Exactly. We found through our interviewing that for transfer and non-transfer students, the first year academic struggles were related to the academic change between high school or community college and their first year here at CMU. Here's what one student had to say.
My first semester here at CMU was challenging due to the new environment, and my classes were a lot harder.
As you can see, this was a big change for students. They had to adapt new study habits and learn to prioritize their tasks.
Looking back on their time at CMU, both sets of students said they wish they had spent more time and put forth more effort into their academics during their early years at CMU. Everything came naturally to me in high school. I never had to study to get good grades. So when I came to college, I just thought everything would be easy and I wouldn't have to study. After my first year, I found out this wasn't the case and that I was really going to have to focus on school and studying.
As the research shows, both transfer and non-transfer students felt they developed academically during their time here at CMU. They had to rethink their expectations of college and focus more on their studies rather than gaining the quote-unquote college experience.
Actually, this leads into our next surprising similarity we found doing this research. Both transfer and non-transfer students felt they gained the college experience during their time at CMU. Although not all students may have lived in the dorms, they felt that they gained this experience in a roundabout way.
Upon transferring, they were still able to gain that college experience by meeting people through classes and going out, not necessarily by living in the dorms. But students who did live in the dorms felt that it was a major contribution to their overall experience.
A lot of people I know met their best friends in the dorm. I feel like I missed out on that. It was a lot harder for me to make friends. My friends are mostly transfer students.
It really helps you meet new people and really helps you kind of build relationships with a lot of different people. And that's just within your own room. Then, on my floor at least, my array was really cool, but my whole floor had their doors open 24/7. So you were always walking by, you're saying hello, you're meeting all these new people on your floor. And that's really, really cool for at least.
So, although the college experience was achieved in different ways, both sets of students felt they ultimately grew as a person during their time at CMU.
Despite being a transfer or non-transfer student, students we found collectively discovered who they were and how to rely on themselves.
I grew up in a really small town, so when I came to CMU, I had the opportunity to explore and experience new cultures. I found out what I love to do and figured out who I want to be.
So, in the end, both sets of students felt they had to adapt to living independently and away from home, thus causing them to grow as a person.
Speaking of growing as a person, another concept we found that influenced both transfer and non-transfer students was their outside work experience. Many people we talked to highlighted that although working while taking classes can be stressful, it was also very beneficial to them.
Working helped me to prioritize my time and be successful in school. We found that work experience, such as part-time jobs or internships, really helps students relate classroom learning to the real-world corporate environment. This in turn helped to motivate and drive them to continue to succeed and develop professionally.
Working in college is kind of rough. It gives you an experience that's a little different though than just coming to school. It's a lot nicer because you can develop yourself as a professional while developing your education. Overall, I wouldn't mind doing it again, but I think if I could, I'd limit the time I worked to better fund my knowledge and learning. Other than that, working during school was fine. I really enjoyed it and met all the people and everything like that.
Professional growth was something that students realized they had developed after gaining real-world work experience.
Yeah, this was a change that many students felt comfortable with and were glad they had acquired these skills. Both transfer and non-transfer students strongly believed that this subtle and unexpected change would help them to succeed in their future endeavors.
You know, this concept of outside work experience and professional development ties in well with the last main concept we found while interviewing these students. One of the most talked about subjects during our research dealt with the personal relationships both transfer and non-transfer students preserved and developed during their time here at CMU.
First off, across the board, the majority of students, both transfer and non-transfer, maintained strong and significant relationships with their friends back at home. Students really stressed that their friends back home still played an extremely important part of their lives here at CMU.
Yes, but even though they upheld these strong relationships at home, this did not stop either set of students from making new friends or meeting new people here at CMU. Although transfers said it was a little more difficult to make friends at first, both sets of students said participating in extracurricular activities, outside work, or just by knowing other people made it a lot easier to make friends. Here's what one student had to say.
When I came in as a freshman, I was involved in the marching band, and the band draws in a wide variety of people. So I met a lot of interesting people, and I developed a lot of long-lasting friendships and those sort of things. And they're definitely things that I'm going to keep with for the rest of my life and hopefully keep in touch.
To our surprise, although most students said they had developed and established new relationships here at CMU, a majority of them expressed that they did not feel they had drastically changed as a person. Although they may have developed professionally or matured into an adult, they believe their core values remain the same. Here's what one student had to say.
I'd basically say that my values have stayed the same since I've been at Central.
So, although some change obviously occurred for these students because of the change in environment, collectively they did not believe their values and beliefs had changed during their college experience.
All right, that was a lot to think about. Hopefully we were able to provide you with some strong insight into what these students had to say about their growth here at CMU.
You know, I think we were definitely able to achieve our objective through interviewing all of these CMU students of gaining a better understanding of the transformation of both transfer and non-transfer students' experience during their college careers.
Now we can take a closer look at how these concepts all relate back to each other.
And for that, we're going to go back to you in the studio, Melissa.
Thanks, Kate and Katie. Laura and I are going to break down our interviews more using axial coding. The context of our interviews were transfer versus non-transfer students. We chose to do this because half of our group is transfer students and half are non-transfer students.
To begin, we have the antecedents. The first is high school. This is the things along the lines of graduation and going on college visits, which comes down to the college experience. When you're in high school and touring colleges, you get a taste of what the life will be like, and it makes you, for most people, it makes them want to experience it. And then this is how community college plays in, because community college is more closely related to high school than to an actual university, so you're not getting the college experience. The last one is values. This is the things that are instilled in people, their beliefs and things along those lines. And all these antecedents lead to the core phenomenon.
The core phenomenon is change. The 4 management strategies we found under change were academic, which include when people first came to CMU, they struggled academically and then they changed their study habits to get better. They changed professionally by not really thinking about their future and then utilizing Career Central and going to job fairs. They changed with independence by moving out either during freshman year into the dorms or into apartments if they transferred, and growing individually as a person. And with work experience, they either held part-time jobs or got internships, which helped them change for the better.
And now moving on to outcomes. The first outcome we found was the most surprising, and that was that there was no change. The thing that there was no change in were the values. These are the things like the beliefs and the core values that people are as a person. Most people interviewed did not feel much different in that sense. The next outcome was on a professional level. This was caused from the academic, professional, independence, and work experience, so all the management strategies. The next is personal growth. The things that cause the personal growth are the independence, because as you're more independent, you learn to grow. And another was over here to the college experience. This is where all the social friendships and everything came from. The last is academic, which the academics were changed for the better to try to get that job at the end.
We hope you are able to gain some valuable insight into the transformation of college students at CMU.
We will see you in the next exciting episode of Marketing 450 News.